Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank UNESCO for having given us this opportunity to participate in such a prestigious assembly on education.
Ladies and gentlemen, history, near and far, teaches us that Lebanon built its uniqueness on the exceptional quality of its educational system, which has always been and will remain the primary guarantor of Lebanese talent and brilliance. Lebanon has always gone through wars and turmoil over time. But for the last few years, Lebanon has been facing a series of unprecedented multidimensional crises and severe transformations, among which we can mention more than 1.5 million Syrian refugees, an unparalleled political, economic, financial, and monetary crisis, along with the COVID-19 pandemic and the horrific Beirut port explosion. However, despite this dark reality, Lebanon has taken up the challenge of preserving education. Faced with pressing and intertwined constraints, including the deterioration of the quality of life, the devaluation of teachers' salaries, and their exodus in search of better opportunities, the decrease in the resources of students' families, or even obstacles to the conduct of work in educational institutions. In this context, the Ministry of Education and Higher Education, with the international support and mainly that of UNESCO, has made every effort to develop quick and agile action mechanisms in order to mitigate the impact of the crisis on the educational sector, reduce damage, and ensure the continuity of education. And if we have partly succeeded, it is thanks to all these local and international efforts, but also, and above all, thanks to the dedication of the educational body, the perseverance of our students, and the determination of their families. Let me assure you, Lebanon has demonstrated a popular and institutional resilience that still amazes us to this day. Today, even though we are still suffering from the repercussions of the above-mentioned crises, we are doomed by hope, as one of our Arab writers said. Education is the lever on which we rely to preserve this hope and rethink the future of our country. Our vision, demonstrated in the 5-year strategy for general education and higher education, emphasizes our commitment to quality, equitable, and inclusive education. An education aimed at forming responsible citizens who work for the human, cultural, and socio-economic progress in the country. The development of our human capital is a strategic issue for us, as it is our most sustainable resource. Based on this vision, and following the national consultations around the 5 thematic tracks of the Education Transformation Summit, we realized, as expected, that the paths to education transformation are almost the same everywhere, but at a different pace and with different priorities. And if our circumstances today are hindering our progress at the desired speed, the fact remains that Lebanon has already, and for a long time, anchored practices inspired by the Lebanese tradition of diversity, the continuous pursuit of excellence and modernization, openness and global citizenship, all of which are practices on which we can continue to build. As for the future, our ambition is to contribute, with all of you present today, to the emergence of a more humanistic education that puts the human at the center of their interests, an education that equips young men and women with skills that enable them to live and constantly reinvent themselves in a changing and increasingly complex digital world. An education that tames technological progress to bridge gaps which have deepened in recent times. An education that removes geographical, scientific, and cultural boundaries so that this humanity is worthy of its name. If it seems to you that what we aspire to seems too demanding or too difficult to achieve, let's remember the slogan that marked us all one day: be realistic, demand the impossible. Thank you.